6:31, so call this work session of the Snellville City Council to order. 5 members of the City Council are present. Mayor Kelly Couch is absent.
Mayor Pro Tem, Woods, I have a statement to read about her absence. From Mayor Kelly Couch to the citizens of Snellville and the City Council. Please excuse my absence from the City Council work session tonight, June 10, 2013. I take my responsibility for attending city meetings very seriously, but unfortunately tonight I had a work commitment that I could not afford to miss outside of Gwinnett County. I will be at the regular scheduled council meeting. Thank you for your understanding. That's the message.
Very good. All right. First, let's go over our regular meeting agenda. Public speaking. All right. Let's see. We have a call to order. You've all received copies of minutes. Does anyone have any problems, changes, adjustments to the minutes? Everybody's good with that? Okay, great. Announcements of pledge of the flag. Ceremonial matters. Do we have any ceremonial matters you're aware of, Melissa? I don't see any. I don't see anything listed, so I don't believe that we do. There was a proclamation, but that was just a re-signing, right? Am I correct? Right? The one I just signed?
Yes, that's just right.
All right, so we don't have anything in ceremonial matters. Again, the minutes, we're all approved. Invited guests, Mr. Ewing will be here with the sound bites of Snellville. And we'll get to do some more about the history of Snellville. Committee reports, there will be an addition. I need someone to, or I will amend the agenda to add the Arts Council. I believe is going to have a member here. I see Mrs. Lell back there. Are you Lell? Right. I'm sorry. Are you giving your report this evening, or you or Deborah? One of you will be here to give.
Deborah will be here for that.
Okay, great, very good. So we'll just again when we get in there, so we'll just make that.
Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, I will be glad to give up my time because I was going to use my time for the budget. So
okay.
If you can take mine off and
we'll
put the Arts Commission in.
Very good. Okay, we don't have a consent agenda under old business. Consideration action on application by Atlanta Healthcare Management for a conditional use permit for emergency air evac heliport. Mr. Davis?
Yes, sir.
Give us a little update on that, if you feel necessary.
We did have that at the Planning Commission for a CUP for a heliport for the hospital. It's located over behind Medical Office Building 1, which is if you're looking at the hospital from the front, it's the Medical Office Building on the right-hand side. They will be operating a Bell 206 helicopter out of there. There are 2 approach and departure paths. One runs roughly parallel to 124, and it crosses the first residential neighborhood about 4,600 feet out. So they should have decent elevation on them. The other one runs roughly perpendicular to 124, and they'll cross over the first residential neighborhood at about around 2,500 or 2,700 feet. So they should have some pretty good elevation on them. The 206 is an extremely quiet helicopter as helicopters go. The Planning Commission voted to approve it with our conditions, which were minimal. So any questions, I'd be glad to try and answer them.
Anyone have any questions, concerns?
Should we waive this motion for the next council meeting?
We certainly can.
Thank you.
The mayor will just need a motion from that. Second reading, consideration action ordinance for adoption of the operating capital improvement budget for fiscal year 2014. Mr. Sanders.
You have a document in front of you with the final changes. We went back in and reviewed everything. And where the bottom line ended up is at $10,244,909. That does include the citywide public information officer, which was discussed at the last meeting. That is in there. If you remember, we started out with a prior year surplus number of somewhere over $400,000. By looking at SPLOST and some other possible cuts, we reduced it down to $343,000 at the last meeting, and currently it's at $273,837. So we feel like, I feel like I have gotten every ounce out of this budget that I can. You are, we're still at the slight millage reduction should the digest come in where it is predicted. I guess we'll know that later this month. Should have I guess a submittal from the tax appraiser's office next week. As we said before, there is a new dispatch position in here. It is county reimbursed, no cost to the city. We talked a little bit about SPLOST, Town Green completion, and the added resurfacing is in there, and you will have two ordinances once I get those to Tony and he has a chance to review those for a couple of revenue raising measures on the excise tax on the rental motor vehicles and the occupation tax on the rental property owners. So I am highly recommending this balanced budget of a little over $10.2 million.
Any discussion or concerns about the budget at this time? Okay. Moving on to new business. Consideration and action on approval of surplus public works vehicles. I would imagine that's just allowing us to advertise.
You have to go ahead and prove that so we can sell two vehicles, 21-year-old vehicles on eBay. It has to be approved by the mayor and council.
Okay. After that, we'll have consideration and action on ratification of amendment to agreement between the city of Snellville and DAZ Construction to complete construction of stormwater projects at Connie Circle and Stokesley Way.
I was just finishing up our settlement agreement with the DAS folks and getting them back to work, resolving the case finally and completely.
And they have been cooperative. They've been cooperative with myself and Craig and Gay. We feel like once we work through one property owner issue, we'll complete those last two projects.
Do you have any questions or concerns on that at this point? Okay, then consideration action approval of authorization to purchase 2014 Ford Explorer. Chief?
It's the purchase of a vehicle for narcotics use paid for with drug funds.
Any questions or concerns on that? Moving
This
right
is the one that
along.
was cheaper than whatever else we were looking at
This
initially.
is $1,900 cheaper than a state contract.
Consideration action on recommendation of Snellville Public Arts Commission to spend $5,000 to purchase a flame tower sculpture. I will be recusing myself and leaving the room on this because I'm involved with that. It will be best if y'all discuss that, so we'll just do that for you in the meeting. Consideration action on the recommendation of the Snellville Public Arts Commission to spend $1,000 to purchase materials and services for completion of the display cases at City Hall. Mr. Manuel, do you have a name on that?
No, nothing, it's pretty straightforward. We need to finish the cases so we can display things.
They are,
Therefore, display cases.
That's what they're called, yeah.
Got it.
Now, if we want to change them to non-display cases, we probably.
As we got now.
Or we can leave like they are.
Yeah.
Consideration and action on approval to amend schedule of fees for submission of fingerprints. Chief or Butch?
It's the state has always charged us a fee to process fingerprints for applications and permits and those kind of things, they've increased what they're gonna charge us, and we're just increasing by the same amount. It's a pass-through, it's revenue neutral, so.
Any questions or concerns? No? Consideration and action of approval, consideration and action of approval to release attorney-client privilege emails in response to open records request by Gwinnett Ethics Incorporated. Discussion?
I think we need to defer to our city attorney.
You know, the city clerk goes through and pulls all the responsive documents. She provided them to me. I gave her a notebook tonight that marked those that I thought were privileged communications. I strongly recommend not to waive your privilege to communicate with your lawyer and know that those communications are confidential. It's a well-recognized principle of law, but it's also a necessity that when people communicate, have ideas, questions, evaluate legal situations, there's a lot that gets said in that process that you need to be able to freely speak and know that it's not going to be something that comes back later and gets talked about as a public matter without, and in a public group like this, waiving it becomes a sensitive issue because, you know, you do it by majority vote if you want to waive that privilege. And people who could have thought they were saying something confidentially suddenly become subject to public inquiry and review in those communications. And unfortunately, that'll stop people from really analyzing situations the way they should in those executive sessions. So lots of reasons why I really recommend that you not. I did discuss it with Harvey Gray, who was the other lawyer involved for the city, and his recommendation, although he would yield to the case, it's your privilege to waive, he felt strongly about it too, that it was not something that should be done.
My concern is it puts the city at potential risk because of a precedent it might set and other information, and I don't think it's in the best interest of the city. Would you concur with that?
Absolutely, and it doesn't, you know, the case itself is resolved. There are releases that go into the case that resolve it. It's just peripheral items then can become liability issues, and you know, this is your lawyer you're talking to. It's not something that should be a matter of public record. And this isn't a close call. I mean, even the Open Records Act is privileged to this right, and it's to make sure that you guys can really consider, talk about, discuss openly, have good advice in the process of making decisions. All of your decisions with regard to the case have been made public. You know, when it comes to the merits of the final decision, those things are already public. It's the conversations and background that are sensitive and shouldn't be, should not be subject to release. That's my recommendation to you.
Has this been requested by more than just that one party, as far as them?
No one has really requested that you waive the privilege that I'm aware of. I mean,
I mean, the records, has it been requested by them?
yeah, there was a request. It was copied in those documents. It came from Gwinnett Ethics Inc. You know, we get a lot of requests like this. They don't usually involve lawyer communications, and so the issue doesn't come up very often. But to my knowledge, nobody's requested that anybody waive the privilege. And we get these things all the time like this, and the exception to the open records law is attorney-client communication. So when they involve that, we review them. But you know, this is just like we do this on a regular basis and never waive the privilege unless y'all tell us that it's something you want us to do.
Then, let me ask a question. No, I'm more confused now than I was. Then why would this question of releasing our attorney-client privilege even come up? Why was it even brought up?
The mayor indicated she would be willing to waive it if everybody wanted to.
She put it on the agenda, so it's.
She asked that, yeah. That
Why would? I mean, this is not a practice we do with
We never would do this.
Right.
And both lawyers, both of, this is a complex situation because they're lawyers, for differing interests. But the lawyers who actually represent the city's interest in this case, both of them recommend not, and probably would recommend not in every instance. So.
Do we have any other idea why? Nothing? I mean, that's just it, it was just a request, that's it? Just a request to do it? Okay. Y'all
Just
have
a general question, I think,
Okay. All right. Well, I guess we'll discuss that. Okay. We got that, we got that. The mayor has some board appointments that she has. She's not here to discuss them, so I guess we'll wait till the regular meeting to discuss them because, she's not here to help us get through that, so we have to do that at that point. Then we'll have our council reports, mayor report, public comment, and adjournment. Okay, now let's go to our work session agenda.
Yes, we got 6 litigation matters that I need to talk about.
Okay, on the work session, regular review correspondence. Do we have any correspondence to review, Mr. Kennedy?
No, sir.
Attorney's reports, Mr. Clark?
Only an executive, I need an executive session.
Okay, discussion items, a follow-up, Americans with Disabilities, Mr. Powell.
That is, I gave my full report last time. I think staff is arranging to meet and.
Yeah, we tried to meet with Mr. Blankenship last Friday, and he was unable to, so we're going to meet next Friday, give him an update. We feel like we have a reasonable accommodation which has been adopted by Gwinnett County, and I hope that that's something that can take care of Mr. Blankenship's situation. We also had a visit, the tech company that set everything up in the council room actually visited us and went over the whole system. I had the opportunity to sit and put the, I guess the earphones on, the headphones on, and it does make a difference. You have to sit in the right place, and it definitely is louder. But we have another item that the county, I think, has worked out with you in the past, Mr. Blankenship. We'll talk about it next Friday, and I think we'll be able to get you the information that you need. So that's about all I've got.
Well, I want to say a note, Mr. City Manager. I've received 2 communications from folks that live in the city. I met with one individual last Friday. He's not an ADA, as far as I can tell, individual, but he says he cannot hear very well. The acoustics in the city hall is a problem for those individuals. The fellow that you talked with and did the testing, has he or she done?
Yes, he went through, checked out the speaker system, I think raised the volume in the back of the room. I think that what he has done will have an impact.
A no impact, hopefully for the better, I guess. Maybe
Yeah,
can hear better.
absolutely. And he made changes.
Very good. So tonight will be our more or less of a testing night to see if that impact happens to.
I'd love to hear from the folks after the meeting.
That'll be good.
Or they can call me tomorrow.
Very good. Thank you.
Anything else on that?
That's it.
City of Lawrenceville's request to use the mobile stage on October 5th for $7,000.
We- 17,000. Our mobile stage policy, and as you know, we left it open for fellow governments. City of Grayson used it last year. Lawrenceville has, I think this is the Rockin' Ribs weekend event, and they would like to use that on October 5th. We put together, with Karen and Melissa's help, a lease agreement that I'm going to let Steve North and Bob Baroni take a look at and let city attorney take a look at, but it's something that I think it's our name out there a little bit more. It's marked very well, and I think that we can trust the folks in Lawrenceville.
Some of them.
Is there a requirement for a public announcement thanking the city of Snellville? Contract?
Had something to do with that big red building, the square, and digital lighting and stuff. Does anyone have a problem putting this on our next agenda as an action item? We'll get the city attorney to approve the contract. That's wrong on several levels. Okay, we'll, no one has a problem with that, and I'll be glad to respond.
Can we come back to
Okay,
6,500
good.
instead of 7,000? Courtesy?
I'm sorry?
6,500 instead of 7,000, just as a courtesy.
We need to follow strict billing guidance.
Is that a new policy here?
Seems to work out better.
Okay, that's, I don't think, does anyone have anything else that they would like to bring up on under the work agenda? We have a few minutes. Anybody have something that they want to discuss?
You want to mention the LCI update? Or?
I'm sorry, I skipped that.
LCI update is a very good one. We have negotiated our way to having our third invoice approved. This is in the amount of almost $1.4 million, of which we will be reimbursed over $1.1 million. And that includes the, we had to push, but we did get the Terrell Hunley and Carroll right-of-way acquisition work included in this invoice. Crystal Dixon is pushing it through the department, and we should receive that $1.1 million before the end of the fiscal year. So that's good.
Mr. Sanders, when do you expect, or when do you foresee that we get some construction on this LCI?
Councilman, I'm hoping that we get this check, we get the budget approved, we can put it out for bid in July, and 30 days after that, we can award it, and then mobilization. So we'll just, that's the best schedule I can give you right now. One other quick item, Mr. Witts, that we skipped over the stormwater drainage project at 1641 Hickory Lake Drive, since I may not be here for that.
Okay.
That is a stormwater, serious stormwater issue, a collapsing pipe. The yard is sunken in right, and that pipe runs right next to a homeowner. We got our engineer involved as soon as we knew about the issue, put an RFP together, sent out a bid for quotes, got 3 good quotes back. This recommendation, it really is very much of an emergency repair. This recommendation is to, rather than dig up a roadway and 2 or 3 very nice yards, this is for a cured in place liner, which y'all are unfortunately familiar with from another discussion. And I would definitely recommend approval of that right at $125,000 out of our stormwater fund to fix that issue. Craig has specific answers if you've got any questions for him, but it's a
This was a collapse.
Well, actually, it's about 10 foot. We got a call from Mr. and Miss Bowen. It's about 10 foot from the home, and the way that the area is sinking next to the house, it has caved in a portion of the pipe. And when we went to Clark Patterson, there was an option 1 and an option 2 for this repair. Option 1 being able to use a cured in place liner and repair it if possible. The other option was, of course, to dig everything up off, because there's actually 2 48s, one up under a driveway that is in not much better shape as they run parallel. But the one that's 10 foot from the house is sucking all the soil into the pipe.
Is that cured in place going to have enough strength to sustain itself?
They will be able to repair it. They will be able to repair it.
And have enough strength, so it's not going to...
Yeah, and it'll be...
I just don't know what the strength is of the cured in place. If it's if you don't reinforce it, will it collapse again, or is it strong enough?
It's basically, it's strong enough to be able to withstand.
Which one was that? Is that the Stokes or?
That's
is
the
that-
Hickory Lake Drive, 1641, the one letter C.
And is it, can you talk a little bit about B? About the Stokesley Way?
You've already approved that, that's a settlement, that's the DAS settlement one, it's part of that,
That's-
that's a contract that's already been approved, you're amending the time period of it for settlement purposes.
Yes, sir, I was just asking for approval of this $125,000 for this project, which, as I said, is really an emergency type situation that with every quarter inch of rain, we hold our breath and hope that we don't have more problems there.
Greg, is it gonna start on the other side of the street and go on the roof and then start in her yard? Or is it gonna start right there?
No, it will actually start at the, they will actually have to do one at a time, but it will start at the upstream end.
Okay.
And they will put, they will put the flow of fill in and use the CIP.
All the places that you showed me.
Yeah,
where
so
they-
basically, it'll be from end to end, all 500 feet roughly, the number, will be CI, we'll have a curative place liner while we're there.
Anything else on that?
No, sir.
Any else, procedure? Your flag out, Mr. Sabag, you want to mention anything about your flag days?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. It's on Friday, June the 14th is National Flag Day. It is, it's nationally recognized. The President of the United States generally will have a proclamation out for that day every year. This is not a Veterans Day. This is a recognizing the United States Flag Day. We will have the celebration right up front, the steps near the flag. Council members, please be present and available. Help me present the program. The program is pretty well done, and I do appreciate the support of staff. I purchased a lot of flags, and I think we will have them in a few minutes on in the chambers for the city council members to be placed on the dais. So the program begins at 2 o'clock, and afterwards we will conclude in the community room. There will be some refreshments. Please invite everyone to be part of this. This is the city's Flag Day. It is celebrated by everybody that can be attending and be part of this ceremony, and I'm proud and honored to have a small part in this celebration.
Okay, during the work session of the mayor and the city council of Snellville, Georgia, Mayor Pro Tem Tom Witz announced that certain matters should be discussed in the closed session of the meeting and asked council to advise the city with respect to closing the meeting. City Attorney Anthony Powell advised the city of the following reasons to close the meeting: to discuss pending and/or potential litigation, settlement claims, administrative proceedings, or other judicial actions which exempt from the Open Meetings Act pursuant to OCGA Section 50-14-2(1). To authorize negotiations to purchase, dispose of, lease property, authorize the ordering of an appraisal related to the acquisition or disposal of real estate, enter into a contract to purchase, dispose of, or lease property subject to approval in a subsequent public vote. To enter into any option to purchase, dispose of, or lease real estate subject to approval and subsequent public vote, which is excluded from the Open Meetings Act pursuant to Section 50-14-3B1C. Upon a motion by Council Member
Emmanuel.
and seconded by Council Member, the following council members and the mayor present and voting: Mayor Kelly Couts absent. David Emanuel,
Yes.
Bobby Howard,
Yes.
Councilwoman Kraus,
Yes.
Councilman Sabah,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Witz, yes. At that point, we ask to clear the room, and so we will go into executive session.
If you want.